Hello guys, very good evening. Welcome back and start. So in the last session, we discussed about the what is the concept that we have cleared out in the last session. What we have discussed. Anyone who is attending from the last session, can you please share the details what we discussed in the last session?
So we discussed about cloud computing and the why we need AWS.
Okay, we discussed about the cloud computing. What is the necessity of AWS? These are the two concepts that we have covered in the last session. In this session, I already said you about creating the AWS account, right? So how many people has created it? So understand the demo and then we will go ahead into the AWS account creation. Now the point is when we are going into the AWS, the most important thing that you need to understand is types of AWS clouds and types of AWS, or else types of clouds and types of cloud services that are provided by a cloud computing. So now what are the different types of services that are available or else what are the different types of clouds? Types of clouds. So here we will be having the public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. These are the three types of clouds that we are having. And so many people will say so many different clouds are available. But generally, if I have to talk, there are three types. One is public, private, and hybrid. What is meant by a public cloud? So public cloud means the name itself says that public. Anyone can access from anywhere. If they have an account in the cloud or else in the account in the cloud service providers, then they can create their infrastructure. For example, if I have AWS account, AWS is a cloud service provider. If I have an AWS account, then I can create the infrastructure in the AWS environment. If I have an Azure account, I can create the resources in the Azure. If I have the GCP account, I can create the resources in the GCP. So depending on which type of account that we are having, which cloud that we are having, we can create the resources. Anyone can create it. If you have an account, you can create the resources. So that is called as a public cloud. So next one is private cloud. So this public cloud will have more number of data centers. There will be a global hierarchy will be there. Global infrastructure for every public cloud will be there. We'll discuss about that in detail. And next one is private cloud. So what is meant by private cloud? There is an IT company. When you come back to the previous topic itself, if there is an IT company, this IT company want to create their infrastructure. So if they have their work, if they have their piece of land, now what this IT company will do, they will create their server infrastructure. Now, for example, there is a company called as TCS. TCS is a well-known company, and it is in one of the top MNC company. Okay. Now TCS don't want to share their servers with any another company. If you see here in the public cloud, what will happen means you can create the servers, I can create the servers, and whoever are having the account, anyone can create the servers. Now, majority of the companies, the big companies will think about the privacy. So I don't want to create my infrastructure in the public cloud. Rather than I can create my own data center. So they will have their own set of infrastructure will be created. They won't share the resources with anyone. Resources in the sense, for example, nothing but the servers. So they won't say that they won't share the servers. They won't share the network. They won't share the network bandwidth. They won't share the storage. They will have only for their company. So that is comes under the private cloud. And the next one is hybrid cloud. Now, what is meant by this hybrid cloud? So to explain the hybrid cloud, so what is public cloud? Public cloud means anyone can create their account and create their servers. Private cloud means only one particular organization will have their infrastructure created in a particular location is called as a private cloud. When you come to the hybrid cloud, it is a connectivity of private and public cloud. For example, there is a bank. Okay, there is a bank and this bank want to run their application in the cloud environment, but the same bank cannot store the user details in the cloud environment. In India, as per the RBI guidelines, so RBI is saying one thing, wherever you can deploy the application, it doesn't matter. But the user details should be available in the on-premises environment only. We need to have the user details in the on-premises only. we cannot provide the, or else we cannot store the user details in another region, or else we cannot store the user details in another location. So it should be very, very safe and secure. The user details must be more private. So that is the reason. That is the reason the banking sector, their servers, the storage of user details and their servers will be in the same environment. Even though if you are having the application deployed on your company servers, but the data will not be on the company servers. The data will be always with the bank servers only. So the connectivity of the public cloud. So the bank want to deploy their application in the cloud environment to reduce the cost, and they want to connect it to the what I can say, to not only for reducing the cost. Nowadays, cloud is very much costlier than the on-premises environment. So I won't say it is going for an economical kind of thing, but to have the scalability, high availability, accessibility for all these kind of things, some of the banks and some of the companies are migrating to cloud environment. And as well as they want to connect their application to the on-premises environment. Here we are having the private cloud and as well as the public cloud. So this connections, or else the establishment of connectivity between the resources in the public cloud to the resources in the private cloud, then that is called as a hybrid cloud. So these are the three different types of clouds that we are having. And now we will discuss about AWS uh, global infrastructure. Global infra. What is meant by AWS global infrastructure? So who established AWS? When was AWS was introduced into the world? Who established it? Hmm. You are here to learn AWS only, no? At least you need to know about this.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, just fantastic. When AWS was introduced, you can check out in the Google also. So the first AWS data center was introduced in the year 2006 in North Virginia location, US. So now they created their first data center. Why they have created the first data center? See, if you are purchasing a computer, why you want to purchase the computer? You want to learn some programming languages and so on. So that is the reason you have purchased the computer. Otherwise, why you need to purchase the computer? In the same manner, why AWS want to create a data center? I mean, Amazon, not AWS. Why Amazon want to create a data center? Because from 1996 only, we have the Amazon e-commerce. But Amazon used to sell the books. It's an e-book or else e-commerce for books. They used to sell the books online. Okay. Later, slowly they have gone for this commercial things like electronics, textile, and all the things. But previously, Amazon used to sell the books on online. So to run their applications and not only books, but there are some more other businesses out there. Because of that, they want to create a data center. So they created the data center in 2006 in North Virginia location. So once they have created the data center, then what happened? Why can't we provide the resources rental basis? Then only this particular Google, if you remember, so Google introduced the Google Drive. So where you can store the photos, access from anywhere. So what is the meaning of that? Previously, before Google Drive, nobody knows. So until 2009 also, I don't know what is a Google Drive. But later I used to, I used to understand what is meant by Google Drive and how I can access it. But now Google has introduced the Google Drive for storage purpose. Then Amazon also introduced a service called as S3 for the storage purpose. In Google Drive, what you are going to save? You are going to save photos, videos, audios. These are going to be saved in the Google Drive. So which means that unstructured data. Okay, unstructured data can be stored in the Google Drive. Not the data. We cannot create the databases in the Google Drive. No? So Google Drive is used for storing the unstructured data. So structured data means your databases. Okay. So in the same manner, AWS also introduced S3, the storage configuration S3 for storing the unstructured data. So they are providing 5 GB of storage for free. As Google is providing 15 GB of storage as free, they are providing 5 GB of storage as free. And then comes OneDrive. So have you ever heard the word OneDrive? Microsoft introduced OneDrive. It is also a storage service. So like Google Drive, in Amazon you are having S3, and in Microsoft you are having OneDrive, where they are going to provide a minimum amount of free storage for users to store their data, to store their unstructured data. Then when Azure was introduced, when Azure was introduced into the world in 2010 by Satya Nadella, so they started providing the virtual machines, instances, servers. Okay, so over the internet you can access the servers. So then AWS also introduced EC2 concept. Slowly AWS has emerged and slowly AWS has evolved. Now in AWS we are having 270 plus services are available. So AWS started their journey with a small service. Now they are having 270 plus services are available, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analysis, and IT related services like EC2 instances, load balancers, VPC, CloudWatch, CloudFormation. Like that, there are so many services are available in AWS. So now, how these servers are maintained? How the servers are maintained? Now, if you see for AWS, there are global audience. Global audience means there are so many people across the globe who want to create the infrastructure. Now, what is meant by an infrastructure first? What is an infrastructure? So, if the developers created an application, if the developers has created the application, this application should be installed. So in a simple way, there will be some technical jargons like deployment. So I will simply say that if they want to install the application, we need to have the server. If we have the server, that is enough? No. For this server, we need to have the network. If we have the network, that is enough? No. For the server, we need to have the storage. If server is there, network is there, storage is there, that's more than enough? No. We need to have the security. So these are all the things that will comes under the infrastructure. So if you want to create an infrastructure to run an application, you need to have a server, and that server should be connected to the network, and it should have the storage to store the application data. So application will generate the logs and it will generate certain data. To store the data on logs, we need to have a storage. And finally, that server should not be exposed to any vulnerabilities and any malware. We need to provide the security for that. So this will comes under the infrastructure. So what AWS has done here is they created that first data center inside the North Virginia location. Now, what is meant by a data center? Did anybody visited any data center?
No.
Okay, no problem. A data center is like a very big warehouse. So you know about the warehouse, right? Where you can put all the products from where, suppose if there is an Amazon warehouse, in Amazon warehouse, you will have all the products. Or else if you are using this Instamart or else Blinkit, so in your nearest location, you will have a warehouse. So all the products will be available in that warehouse. When you put an order within 10 minutes, how they are going to deliver? Because the warehouse is very near to your locality, they are going to bring the products to you. So in the same manner, data center is a very big warehouse where you will have the all the infrastructure will be created. So what Amazon has thought here is let us create a data center and we need to provide the access for the entire we need to provide the global access. So then what they have did here is they created a data center. Okay, so inside this data center, you will have the servers. So where the servers are created, in general, inside this data center, you will have the racks. Okay, so if you see a data center image, this is how the data center will be looking like. So there will be so many racks, but this is an data center actually will not look this much clean. Okay, there will be so many cables will be there. So this is completely a structured cabling kind of data center, but actually these are the racks. If you can see, these are the racks. Inside the racks, what you will have here is you will have the servers. Okay, So if I have to call it at a data center, inside the data center, you will have the racks, and inside the racks, you will have the servers, and these servers are of three types, depending on the size and shape. Inside the data center, whatever the servers that we are talking, depending on the size and shape, that is called as form factor. It is called as form factor. Depending on the form factor of the devices, there are three types. One is tower server, the second one is rack server, and the third one will be blade server. These are the three types of servers that you are having. So if you see the tower server, it will be just looking like a normal computer. So this is how the tower servers will be looking like. So these are the Dell tower servers, just like your CPU, how your CPU cabinet will be looking like. In the same manner, the servers are also looking like this. Now, when you go to the blade server, in this diagram, you will see everything. So this is the data center racks, and whatever he is inserting here, this is called as a blade. And this is the chassis. So whatever the aluminum frame that you are seeing here, this is the chassis where he is inserting the blade. It is a 4x4 blade server. And here you can see there is a rack server. So this is the rack server, and here you can see there is a tower server. So likewise, what is going to happen? There will be rack servers, tower servers, and blade servers. Depending on the requirement, you can have any one of the server. Depending on the budget and depending on the requirement, you can purchase either the tower, rack, or blade servers. And then here you can see in the rack, you are having so much amount of networking cables are there. So this is not a structured way of creating the cables, but here in this rack, you will have all the networking devices like firewalls, routers, gateways, switches, layer 2 switches, layer 3 switches. Like that, you will be having different kinds of networking devices are available. So inside a data center, you will have the servers, networking equipment, you will have the storage configuration, security configurations like firewalls, everything will be available. Okay, so like this. So here, everywhere, what is going to happen? These are the servers. Now, like this, you will be having so many racks are available inside the data center. Now, if I have to install a data center, I need to perform certain, I need to follow certain guidelines. All the racks are interconnected with each other. Okay, so what are the guidelines that I need to follow here is, so there will be for any products or else for anything, we need to follow certain guidelines. No? In the same manner, to create a data center, we need to follow certain guidelines. What is the guideline? Rule number one is that first of all, you need to check the climatic conditions. So from the past 60 years, how was the climatic conditions? Whether in that area is or there are any frequent earthquakes are happening, or else any frequent cyclones are affecting that area. So you need to get the report of the date weather on that particular area. So the AWS is not going to create the data centers like in Japan or else wherever the earthquakes are very heavy or else wherever the floods are very heavy. In that particular region, they won't create the data center. First, they need to get the climatic changes. And then they need to have minimum two power substations. If you want to create a data center, you need to get the power from two substations. Why? If one substation is down, but you can get the power from the another substation. Not only that, you need to have minimum 24 hours of backup power is mandatory for every data center. And then you need to have minimum two internet service providers should be there. And then you need to have the leasing line connectivity. And that should be fiber connectivity. You should not have the normal, whatever the household connectivity is there, no household internet connectivity. It should not be given for the data centers. Why? Because inside a data center, there will be some thousands of servers will be there. Some lakhs and crores of people will be communicating with those servers. If you are using the normal bandwidth, that is not sufficient. So you need to have a huge amount of internet traffic will be coming. So you need to have two or more broadband providers. Even one broadband provider is down, you can get the internet from the another broadband provider so that the high availability, without any downtime, your application will be running. So that is the second criteria. Or else third criteria, internet. And then the data center should be very near to a local water body. It should be created very near to the water body for cooling purpose, or else for if there is any fire accident is happened. So we should not be there should not be any horrifying situation. For that, the data center should be constructed near to the local bodies, local water bodies. And then you need to have the data center very near to the transportation. So even though you should not create the data center in the middle of the city, you have to create the data centers at the outskirts of the city. But you need to have all ways of transportation. At least you need to have roadways, railways. These are mandatory. And then criminal records. So what is the area of that crime rate of that particular area? Everything will be considered. So these are all the things that will be considered before creating or before selecting an area for a data center. Now, if you see in Andhra Pradesh, we are getting a Google data center in Vizag. So when they are going to create the Google data center, so they have to check all these constraints. So when all these constraints are check marked, then only they will allow the user, or they will allow the company to create the data center there. So in the same manner, AWS has created their first data center in North Virginia location and provided their services to the users. And later they incremented, or else they have expanded their wings, and they created in Ohio and California, and then Oregon region. Like that, in US itself, there are some 4 regions are available. And later they created in London in Europe, and then they created in Africa, and then they have expanded to Asia, and then they are expanding to Australia. Like that, across the world, they are creating the data centers. So wherever they are creating the data center, they are going to select a piece of land. So in the country, they are going to select a particular locality, and that locality is called as a region. If anybody asks you what is meant by region in the interview, you can simply say that region means it is a location where we can have our AWS resources, AWS data centers. It's just a location. For example, in India, we are having 2 regions. One is Mumbai region and the other one is Hyderabad region. In US, you are having 4 regions. One is US East 1, US East 2, US West 1, West 2. That is North Virginia, Ohio, California, and Oregon region. So these are the 4 regions that you are having. Now, if you see, whenever, depending on the climatic conditions, whatever I have given the considerations over there, they are going to select Amazon is going to select a region. So when I select the region, so we will have the data centers inside the region. So how we are going to create the data centers? For example, I created a data center in the one end of the city. Okay, at one end of the city, I created a data center, and AWS can take another data center for rent. On the rental basis, they have taken another data center, but these 2 data centers are very near to each other. If these 2 data centers are very near to each other, then they will be considered as a single locality, and that is called as an availability zone. Okay, inside the availability zone, you will have the data centers. So there is a region. Inside the region, you will have an availability zone, and inside the availability zone, you will have the data center. So this is the availability zone 1. Okay, availability zone 1. If another data center and another AWS data center is there, but that data center is far away from the remaining data centers. If this data center is somewhere like 60 kilometers far away from the first 2 data centers, then this is considered as another availability zone. 60 to 100 kilometers of distance. If another data center is available, then that is called as another availability zone. So here you are having AZ2. Okay. So if the distance is 60 kilometers between these 2 locations. Why 60 to 100 kilometers? Why? Because, for example, if there is any climatic changes are there, suddenly in near to AZ1, there is a huge rain is there. Because of that, the entire power outage is there. For availability zone 1, the entire power is out. There is a power outage for availability zone 1. Now, the user should not face any problems with the application. Why? Because inside the availability zone 1 only, we are having the data center. Inside the data center only, we are having the servers. As we are having the servers inside the data center, the applications will be running inside the servers. So if the entire power outage is there, so what is going to happen? The entire data center will be collapsed. It will be down. So when the data center completely down, the applications will not be available for the end customer. As the applications are not available for the end customer, there will be huge amount of what I can say revenue will be collapsed. So to overcome that problem, what AWS has done here is AWS has implemented a concept called as availability zones. So you can have an availability zone in one locality and you can have another availability zone. Within these two availability zones, you need to have a distance of 60 kilometers, 60 to 100 kilometers. And inside the availability zones, you will have the data centers. So even if there is a problem in one availability zone, as the another availability zone is far from the AZ1, then you can have the application, then the users can get the application from the another availability zone. So this is the reason why AWS has implemented the availability zone concept. So if I have to call a particular location as a region, for example, if I call Hyderabad as a region, Hyderabad should have minimum 3 availability zones. Or else if I have to call Mumbai as a region, Mumbai should have minimum of 3 availability zones. Otherwise, it won't be called as a region. Okay, so this is the entire global infrastructure. If you see, we have the regions, we have the availability zones, and then we have the data centers. Data centers are not required. So you need to focus on regions, availability zones. So now, if anybody asks you what is meant by a region is a location where AWS can have their data centers. Now, what is meant by an availability zone? Availability zone is an subpart or a subdivision of a region in which we can have the data centers. So the distance between two availability zones should be minimum 60 kilometers so that the high availability of the applications can be processed. So this is the global infrastructure of your AWS environment. Do you understand the concept? Any questions here? Any questions? Or else it is overwhelming.
No, Chaitanya. Clear.
Chaitanya.
Okay, good.
Hello, Chaitanya.
Tell me, Shai.
What are the availability zones and the region?
Okay. Okay. Where you are, where you are living right now?
Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Okay, very good. So the entire Hyderabad is a region. Okay. Now, for example, you have an office in Uppal. Okay.
According to Map My India, I found a few ones. There's
1 second. So you are in Hyderabad. You have an office in Uppal, and you have a branch office in, or else you have an office in Gachibowli, and you have the branch office in Uppal. First and foremost thing, why you need to have a branch office? You can do all the work from the main office only, in that particular Hyderabad locality. You can do all the functions from the main office itself. Why you need to have a branch office? So I am asking to you.
Yes, need to provide some facilities for the brand. Actually, main office is not maintain the all things. So that's why they are using create the sub branch.
Right. So, which means that then you can put the office very near to the first office only, If we
Yes,
have
that
to
is
do
the correct,
something,
but already office there. Why within small 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers, so they are maintaining another office.
right?
Yeah.
So you are going to place the office in a particular distance. And not only that, for example, if the entire operations are down in one office, then you can still run the operations in the another office. That is also one of the case, right?
Yes.
In the same manner, if you take the global infrastructure, region is a location. Okay, just like Hyderabad is there, no? So in Hyderabad, we have the subdivisions. Like your offices will be in Gachibowli and as well as in the Uppal, how your offices are there. In the same manner, inside Hyderabad, inside a region of AWS environment, you will have the availability zones where you can create the infrastructure. Infrastructure is nothing but the data centers. So that is called as an availability zone. Now you got the understanding about what is meant by region and what is meant by an availability zone.
Yeah, I understand.
We have the confusion.
No.
Good. Yes, guys. Anything else you want to ask me? You can ask me now. Okay. So this is about the global infrastructure. And there is one more thing that I want to tell you that is called as edge locations. There is a concept of edge locations are also there. What is meant by an edge location? So will you use Netflix? Will you use Netflix?
Yes.
Yes.
I will binge watch it up to 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the night. Anyways, everyone will watch the Netflix, no? So actually, where are the Netflix servers? Where Netflix servers are hosted? Netflix servers are hosted in AWS in US location. Now in Netflix, we have so much amount of content is there. Movies, videos. There are so much web series. There is lot of content is there. Now I am sitting in India, or else you are sitting in Hyderabad. Now when you are sitting in Hyderabad, you open your phone and you open your Netflix application. When you click on a particular movie, now what will happen? So the request has to go to the Netflix application. From Netflix application, the movie has to travel from US location to your mobile phone. So every time is it going to happen like that? If if the entire movie data has to be traveled from the main location to your mobile phone, then it is going to take a lot of time. You will have a so much amount of buffering. So what I have to do? If I have to give you a simple example, uh, for example, if you want to purchase some rice, are you directly going to the farmers or will you go to the nearest shops or else nearest shop marts and you will purchase from that like D-Mart or Reliance Part? You will purchase from those marts or shops, or you will directly go to the production area, that is to the farmers, whom you, I mean, how you are going to get those rice bags?
We are purchased from the shop.
You will be purchasing from the nearest shops. So in the same manner, whatever the data is there, so the data is every time I don't want the data to be traveled all the way from the main location to my phone. So I can simply have the data in my nearest location, nearest data center. So if any data center that is equipped with any cache storage, that is videos, audios, files, images, then those are called as edge locations. Edge locations are also the data centers only. But in edge locations, you will have all the unstructured data will be stored. So when the user is trying to access the application, the request will be going to the main server. But he want to access the data, then the request will be going to the nearest location of of the user. For example, in India, if you take, there are so many edge locations are there across the globe. There are around 400 edge locations are created by AWS environment. Edge locations are nothing but the data centers which will store the unstructured data. So this is the concept of your global infrastructure. You understand about the edge location? What is meant by an edge location? Any confusions here? Do you understand what is meant by an edge location?
Yeah, Chaitanya.
Yes, we understand.
Okay, good. So now let us discuss about the services that are provided by AWS environment. So AWS, not only AWS, any cloud service providers, what are the services that will be provided? So before I go into the services, let us discuss about on-prem, and then we are having IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. These are the three things that we are going to discuss, and then we will wrap up the session here. So if you want to have a server in the on-premises environment, if you want to have it, or else if you want to run an application, developer has created an application and he wants to run that application on our company server. So first of all, what you need to have, first you need to purchase the server, and then you need to install operating system, and then you need to connect to the network, and then you have to provide the security, you have to provide the storage. So in the on-premises environment, everything should be handled by the system administrators. There will be a separate team for that. So they have to create the servers, they need to work with the networking, and they need to have the security, and then we need to have what else? Storage, and there should be backup. Backup admin should be there. So these are all the things that should be managed by us. So it is just like constructing a home by sitting in front of the construction building. The owner has to sit in front of the construction building, and he has to construct the, he has to guide the labor to construct the home. So here there will be so much amount of human efforts should be there. Without the human efforts, you cannot do the complete on-premises configuration. Like you need to create the server. So for server configuration, it will take minimum 2 weeks. You need to create the network. You need to configure the security. So everything has to be handled by you. And then you have to, once you install the application, there comes the main problem. See, purchasing of a car is very easy, guys. Purchasing of a bike is very easy. What is toughest thing? After purchasing only, the toughest thing will happen, right? Will you accept it? Why? Because you have to manage that vehicle. Either you have to manage the car or else you have to manage the bike. So you need to maintain it. So every day to day you have to check the petrol, you have to do the services. So that in the same manner here also, application will be created and application will be installed in the server. So that is fine. But later onwards, it is a hectic task. Application may consume the entire resources, or else application will not run. You need to check the logs, and application may be, or it will behave oddly. So the application behavioral changes that we have to check, logs we have to check. We need to monitor the servers at 24/7, which type of traffic is coming, which type of traffic is going. So everything we need to check. We need to check the server status, whether the server is running properly or not, whether the networking is network cables, are there any disconnection in the network cables or not? Is there any security breach or not? How much amount of storage is consumed? So these are all the things that we need to check. So on-premises environment will be very, very easily handled. Why? Because that is created by us. But it cannot, very easy to create. But for handling, it is very tough. Now, what AWS or else what cloud computing is saying here is, you don't need to worry about the infrastructure. You don't need to worry about whether the server is running or not. You don't need to worry about the network connections. You don't need to worry about the storage. We will look after that. You just need to, you have to check out which type of operating system you need to install on the server. On that, what is the runtime that you have to install, like Java runtime or Python runtime? Which runtime you have to install. On top of that, what is the application that you have to install? On top of that, what is the data that is generated by the application? You need to worry about that. So that is called as infrastructure as a service. It is just like in the construction field, if I have to say, if you give the contract to a contractor, and you can happily lay back in your home and you can sit back and you can just get the updates that today the foundation is completed, and after 1 week the pillars has been completed, and after 2 or 3 weeks the rooms are constructed. Like that, you will be getting day-to-day updates. In the same manner, in IAS also, what is going to happen is, so infrastructure, you don't need to take care of the infrastructure, but after the infrastructure, you need to look after. So you cannot ask the contractor that where is my refrigerator. You cannot ask the contractor where is my air condition. So if you ask him, he will hit with the hammer. So we cannot ask the contractor all these things. So what is the responsibility of the contractor? To construct the home for us. In the same manner, in IAS also, what is the responsibility here is, they have to provide the infrastructure like servers, networking, storage. These are the things that should be provided by the infrastructure. In the infrastructure as a service. You cannot expect beyond that. Where is my operating system? AWS customer care will say that, go and install your operating system. You ask me only for the infrastructure, which I have provided. So the point is, infrastructure as a service will provide us the infrastructure only. And the next one is platform as a service. Platform as a service, in the sense here, you won't have the access for servers, you won't have the access for the operating system, and you won't have the access for the installation of runtime also. Okay, there is a service called as Lambda service is there, or else there is a service called as Elastic Beanstalk is there. These services doesn't require any, they won't be, we cannot have the access towards the servers. We cannot have the access for the operating system. We need to happily install the application and we need to get the application data. That is the main functionality. And then when you come to this is like an what I can say service apartment. So when you go into a service apartment, they will provide all the services for you. All the appliances will be there. Geyser will be there. Fridge will be there. TV will be there. Sofa will be there. Only you have to use them, and then you have to come out of the service apartment. Rental basis it will be there. The same manner, platform as a service is also the same. When you come to the software as a service, you cannot have the authentication for the application also. Application also will be designed by the service provider only. For example, if you take a Zoom application or else Microsoft 365 is there. So these are the best examples for the software as a service. They will provide the software for you on the subscription model. Nowadays, most of the companies are saying, the production-based companies are saying that we are going to provide the applications on the SaaS model. SaaS means software as a service model, and we'll put a subscription price. So whoever are interested, for example, I have designed an application for the travel booking. I designed an application. Now there is a company, and that company want to purchase or else access my application. So I will give that application in a subscription model. Pay for 1 month, this much amount of money. I will give the application to you, and you can change your company name. For example, the company name is some Polaris or else some high tech travels. So you can put that name. You can do certain modification in the application, and you can run it. So this is a subscription model of applications that we are providing for you. So that will comes under the SaaS model. So these are the three different types of models that are provided by the cloud environment. That is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Among those, we are going to mainly concentrate on the infrastructure, platform as a service. SaaS is also going to come, but majorly we will be working inside the AWS for IaaS and PaaS. So these are the service models. In interview, nobody will question you about the service models except if we have a bad day. Okay. Whenever the interviewer is starting from the home, if he or she is having a bad day in the home, if he or she fights with so and so, then they might be triggered, and you will become the main one in front of them to eat. So they will start asking about all these questions. Okay, what is meant by services? What are the different service models that we are having? What are the different types of cloud service providers? I mean, clouds. Except other than that, you will be going to face lots of questions from the EC2, IAM, and the VPC configurations, and S3 buckets and cloud formation. Whatever we are going to discuss, we will have a clear-cut understanding about each and every service. So this is the concept of introduction to AWS. From tomorrow, we will start working with the IAM. Before we start tomorrow's session, whoever doesn't have an AWS account, please create an AWS account so that it will be very convenient for us to work with the IAM. Okay. So that's it from my end. If you have any further questions, you can ask me now. This is the day 2 of the demo, guys. Tomorrow onwards, you will have tomorrow there will be demo 3. With that, 3 demos will be completed. From Monday onwards, you will be having the session at 6 o'clock in the evening. As I already discussed in the last session, the session will start at 6 o'clock and it will end by 7:30. 7:30, most probably it will be completed by 7:30. Okay, so that
Yeah,
is the concept. Yep.
yeah, Chaitanya, one question I'm having that
Mhm.
regarding the course content, actually, I was going through, I didn't find it. So if you can share, actually, that will be good. Actually, what are the things will be?
You didn't find it. Why you didn't find it? 1 second.
I was in your Docker and Kubernetes class also earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
1 second.
the second time actually I'm getting training from you on AWS.
Okay, that's fantastic. Whoever are attending to my session for the second time, they will know how the sessions will be. So I don't want to talk about that. Uh, 1 second, guys. I'm looking after that. Hmm. I gave you the syllabus in the chat box, and as well as I can show you also. 1 second. This is the entire syllabus guys. Introduction to cloud computing, AWS regions and the availability zones. And then we have to discuss about the IP addressing, virtual private cloud, VPC peering, NAT gateway, VPC security, transit gateway, EC2 instances, load balancer, auto scaling groups, systems manager, services, S3 buckets, databases, CloudWatch, IAM. AWS migration I am thinking of. I'm not very sure about that, but anyways, don't put in your resume, please don't put the migration. If there is any possibility, I will discuss about this migration, but most probably I will not cover this. Anyways, why? Because if you put migration, no, so they will skip the entire topics. Whatever you have prepared, they will skip the entire topic and they will focus on the migration only. So I don't want you to face difficulties over there. And then we'll discuss about the cloud formation, AWS Lambda. With this, we will complete the entire concept of your AWS. So don't ask me that we don't have the cognitive KMS that are included over here. Okay.
Chaitanya, are we covering API gateway and SQS, SNS topics? Hello?
One second. Okay, it is not included over here, but yes, we are going to cover the API gateway. In the Lambda functions only, we will be discussing about the API gateway, CloudFront, SNS, SQS topics will be covered over there itself.
Okay.
Okay, right. I'm just checking whether it is not there or not. Okay, it is not included here, but yeah, we are going to cover it. Some of the things which are included will not be there. Some of the things which are not there will be included over here. Okay. But basically 90% of the syllabus is this only. Okay. One or two modules will be here and there, it will be changed. Apart from that, everything will be the same.
Yeah, Chaitanya,
Okay,
one more question I'm having.
Don't focus on the migration. Again, I'm telling you, we are not going to discuss on the migration. Yeah.
Yeah, Chaitanya. So these are the only things in the real time actually will be used when you work on the AWS, right?
Yeah. In the IT, especially as an IT or as cloud ops engineer, definitely these are the things you will be working with.
Okay.
So is this enough for Java developer as a Java developer, Chaitanya?
It's more than enough. It's really more than enough for the Java developer. But here we are going to discuss about the development modules also that will be included. DevOps modules are not there in this syllabus. We will be covering the DevOps modules also. Whoever are the Java developers, this is more than enough for you to crack the interview. Okay.
Okay.
As we are, see, as a Java developer, what you will expect, you want to store the data in the S3, how we can provide the S3 bucket access, or else how we can create an application without the serverless architecture. These are the things that will be there for a developer. So all the things we are going to cover here. Don't worry. Anything else?
Yeah, when will be like so tentatively when will you finishing this course by mid of December or it will be
No, it won't be by
January?
mid of December. It won't. It will be January 15th only.
Okay.
Why? Because the contents you might be seeing it's very less, but whatever we are going to cover, it will take a lots and lots of time. So it will be more than 50 sessions.
More
You
than
can
50
take,
sessions.
yeah, it will take more than 50 sessions.
Okay.
Why I'm talking? Because see, if I have to tell you like an another trainer, it will be very easy for me to complete the sessions within 30-35 days. But I have to go very in detail about the AWS environment. So it will definitely take 50 sessions. I mean, when you go for an interview or else when you go for writing the certification, you should not fail and you should not blame the faculty. So actually, what I will think for is whoever are the students are there, they should not blame the faculty saying that my faculty did not say this. Okay. So I want to cover maximum what I can cover. Other than that, if still the questions are coming beyond the expectations, then we have to search for them. Apart from that, I want to put my 100% into the training. So that is my motto every time. Whenever we start the training, that is the same thing we will have. And that too, depending on the students. Again, telling you the same thing again, whatever I have discussed in the last session. Depending on the students, it will be there. So if the students are more interactive, the students are asking the questions. If the session is live, then it will be very helpful for me. If the session is dumb and no one is interested in learning, then I will simply go on and tell you the main concept, and I will close the batch as soon as possible. Depends. That is also. So it's not like I have to go with very. Why? Because you have to. If you are not interested, I can put my efforts. But if you are not interested, and finally I don't want to get blamed on this. So that's why your interaction is more required, as well as my training is more required. Both combined, we are going to complete this batch by 50. By take it as 50 sessions. Okay. So have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session, guys.
Thank you,
That's
Chet.
it. Anything else?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, guys. So have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. Next session is the last and final demo session. Those who are interested to join the classes, please enroll for the sessions. I can assure you that after completing the sessions, you won't get regretted for joining this. Okay. So that is the what assurance I can give. Okay. Have a nice day, and bye.
Chaitanya, are we deploying any Java application related, do we, any applications we will deploy in AWS and real time?
Yeah. We will try to deploy it. Okay. So without doing that, I cannot tell you the practical one.
Yes.
We'll do that.
Okay.
Not about the Java. I won't say definitely I'm going to deploy the Java application. Any application that will be helpful for you when you go for a real-time experience. If you want to have a real-time experience. Okay. I cannot assure you that I am going to train you only on Java. Why?
Okay.
Because I am not familiar with the development. So again, I'm saying you. So openly, I can say this. I am not a developer. Whatever the knowledge that I have right now, that is from my experience. So I will tell you whatever my experiences are there whenever I'm working as a cloud engineer. I will try to explain you each and everything so that it will be helpful for you when you are going for an interview. Okay,
Thank you.
right then. Okay, guys. Have a nice day, and